The first time it happened, I laughed. We were at my cousin's baby shower, crowded living room, pastel balloons everywhere. Someone mentioned how newborns don't feel pain the same way adults do. My wife frowned and said very calmly, "That's actually a myth. They experience pain more intensely." It wasn't rude. It wasn't loud. It was just unnecessary. I brushed it off. She was a nurse. She corrected people sometimes. I figured that came with the job. But then it kept happening. At a barbecue, my neighbor said he'd lost 10 pounds by cutting carbs. My wife leaned over and said, "Weight loss is caloric deficit, not carbs." The table went quiet. My neighbor laughed awkwardly and walked away. At a game night, my friend misquoted a movie. My wife paused the entire room to explain the correct line and the context behind it. People stopped inviting us to game night. I started apologizing for her before she even spoke. I'd squeeze her hand under the table. She'd squeeze back and still correct them. When I asked her to stop, she looked genuinely confused. "Why would I let someone be wrong?" she asked. "It's not mean. It's factual." I told myself I was being sensitive. Then my parents started making excuses. My sister stopped answering texts. My best friend told me gently that hanging out with us was stressful. The worst part wasn't the embarrassment. It was watching how calm she was while my world got smaller. I suggested therapy. She agreed instantly. Too instantly. She cried in the therapist's office, talked about anxiety, about how hard it was for her to keep things inside. The therapist praised her self-awareness. I felt like the bad guy for even bringing it up. Things didn't improve. They got sharper. She corrected the therapist, corrected the intake forms, corrected strangers in waiting rooms. And every time I confronted her afterward, she'd break down, shaking hands, tears, apologies, promises to do better. I stayed because she looked so broken when I was upset, because I loved her, because I thought leaving would mean abandoning someone who was struggling. Then my boss stopped inviting me to lunches. Then I didn't get invited to the team retreat. No one said why. They didn't have to. The breaking point came at my friend Daniel's funeral. The pastor said Daniel had lost his battle with depression. My wife leaned over and whispered, loud enough for the front row, "We don't say that anymore. It stigmatizes mental illness." I felt something snap. I walked out alone and sat in my car, shaking, while people inside buried my friend. That night, I told her I couldn't do this anymore, that she was ruining my relationships, my reputation, my life. She cried harder than I'd ever seen, sobbed, said she hated herself, said she was trying, asked me not to leave her like everyone else did. I stayed. 2 weeks later, I borrowed her tablet because my phone was dead. A message popped up from a group chat called Grounding. It was her sister and her mother. I shouldn't have opened it. I did anyway. "Did he notice tonight?" her mom wrote. Her sister replied, "He's still blaming himself." "You're doing great." I scrolled. They talked about which people I relied on most, which ones would hurt the most to lose, which settings would make me look dramatic if I reacted. There were notes, literal bullet points. Correct him in public, never private. Cry immediately when confronted, never admit intent. Isolation makes reconciliation inevitable. One message made my stomach turn cold. Once he has no one else, he'll never leave. Dad did it to you, remember? They'd been planning it before our wedding. The therapy, tears, the shaking hands, all of it rehearsed. I took photos, sent them to myself, put the tablet back exactly where it was. I didn't confront her. I called a lawyer. I called my boss and asked for a meeting. I showed him everything. I explained everything. He believed me. So did my friends. So did my family. When I finally left, I didn't announce it. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I served her papers. She showed up at my apartment screaming that I was cruel, that I was abandoning her mental health. Her mother called me heartless. Her sister texted that I was destroying the family. Then my lawyer forwarded me something. Her sister had cracked during mediation. She thought honesty would help. She confirmed it all. The judge didn't look at my wife once when he ruled. Now I have my friends back, my job back, my voice back. Last week, I ran into her at the grocery store. She opened her mouth like she was about to correct the cashier. Then she stopped. She looked around. No one was standing next to her anymore. And for the first time, I didn't feel small.